AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical, concierge nursing in Baton Rouge and all over planet Earth. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. What are the Saints' odds to get the number one pick? We'll get to that. Quinn Grovey, former Arkansas quarterback, will be here next hour. Mike Triplett in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So we've spent a good amount of time talking about not only what LSU should do at quarterback for the remainder of this season, but obviously what the future of that position looks like both in 2026 and beyond. But for all the talk about the quarterbacks, which is very much warranted and is absolutely paramount and the most important conversation for the future of LSU football, with Garrett Nussmeier done with his eligibility in 2026 and beyond very much up in the air after Bryce Underwood's defection, I would argue that over the last 3 weeks of this regular season, offensive line is maybe the most critically important position group to evaluate. For the very obvious reason that we all know, which has been it has been the weakest position group on the team this year by a mile. It's not even particularly close. And we saw a change in the Alabama game at halftime when Westin Davis, who started at right tackle all season, was benched for Ori Williams. And so what they do there this week in the remaining 3 games, I do think is going to be pretty fascinating. I asked Frank Wilson that on Monday at his Monday press conference, if they had a plan yet. Are they going to go back to Westin Davis, or is that Ori Williams' job again? This was Frank Wilson on Monday.
Who will be the starter? I'm not quite sure yet. You know, one played quite a bit, and then meaning Weston, and then of course Ori Williams went in and he played quite a bit. They both did some really good things. They both did some things that still we need to build upon, but we haven't made a decision just yet on that.
So no decision yet on who is going to start there. For what it's worth, if you evaluate them both at this point, Westin Davis played in 8 games. Remember, he didn't play against Ole Miss. Jack Pyburn concussed him and broke his nose before the game. I laughed, not at Westin Davis being injured. Just the fact that could actually happen in pregame is wild. But Davis has played 8 games, 472 snaps at right tackle this year. Ori Williams has played in 2 games. He played 26 snaps at left tackle against Southeastern. Didn't play again until the Alabama game, where he played 32 snaps in the second half at right tackle on the road in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. So he's played 58 snaps on the season. So again, you've had 8 games and nearly 500 snaps to evaluate Westin Davis. Ori Williams had 2 games, Southeastern at left tackle and then a half against Bama at right tackle. You know, players can improve. It's one of the mantras that I sort of champion here all the time. Players and teams are allowed to improve as the season goes along. One of the things that I often bring up is Paul Mabenga from a year ago. Remember last year, very unenviable spot where Garrett Dellinger gets injured in that Texas A&M game and missed the remainder of the season. Well, when you look at Mabenga after, and it was bad, by the way, against Texas A&M when he went in, graded out at a 49. The next week he's got his first start against Alabama. It was awful, a 43. Well, every week subsequent, he went from a 43, these are PFF grades, from a 43 to a 45 to a 54 to a 60. Like every week he got a little better. He wasn't great, but every week he kept improving the more comfortable he got. So I look at Westin Davis and I say, look, afford him the same opportunity to continue improving as the season goes along. The problem for Westin Davis is he's played in 8 games and he just hasn't improved this year. So I'm not sitting here trying to throw dirt on Westin Davis and say he'll never amount to anything. It just, he's had this season and it just has never looked good at any point. I mean, his PFF grades, Clemson 48, Tech 50, Florida 34, Southeastern 53, 44 against South Carolina, 51 against Vanderbilt, 48 against A&M, 41 against Bama. It's never gotten better. Westin Davis has been penalized 8 times this year. The next closest offensive lineman is Carius Kern with 3. And Kern's been a part-time player. Like, of your starters, no one has more than 2 penalties. Davis has 8. Like, and I don't mean to single him out because this unit as a whole has been bad. I'm only talking about right tackle because the coaches made the decision to bench him in the second half for Ori Williams. And I think they have to make a decision here if they go back to Davis, who has played in 8 games, or if they give someone else a shot over these final 3 to evaluate them. And I kind of look at it and say, that's where they need to be. Look, not to pile on, but we asked Todd McClure, who was a 2-time first-team All-American during his time at LSU. He's in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor, man. Dude played 14 NFL seasons. Incredible offensive lineman. And Todd's die-hard purple and gold through and through. But we had Todd here a few weeks ago. We were talking about the offensive line, and I asked him about Davis, and he tried to handle it with kid gloves, but honesty is honesty.
Westin Davis is really struggling. I'm watching this last game. Of course, he was going against Stewart, who was an absolute stud, and he was reactive instead of being proactive. And what I mean by that is he was waiting on Stewart or letting him get into him before he did anything with his hands. And some of the best tackles I played with that were tall, long guys, they would do things with their hands to show that defensive end. They would put a hand out there and let him swat at it, and then they would pull it back and then get in his chest, So it would be little things working on his punch, his eyes. I think his eyes are all wrong, the target he's looking at, because you watch him on his pass set and he's oversetting guys, or he's not setting far enough, and I think that's something that he has to improve on, and I think he will.
It's not all of those things that Todd said there are all correctable. It's not the lack of athleticism. I mean, Westin Davis was a guy that everybody in the country wanted. I mean, he's 6'6", 320 pounds. I mean, he was a 5-star recruit. He was the number 4 offensive tackle in the country from on 3 coming out. I mean, everybody wanted him. So he was an elite level basketball player. Great feet, good athleticism. I mean, it's not that. So the physical ability is there. He's got to develop, but we've seen it for 8 games, and it's almost like it's time to see someone else. And this is what I'm talking about, because you've now got this sample size, and this is a bigger picture question about how to build a roster. You now have this growing sample size of a lot of offensive linemen who played a lot of football for you. Remember, the only guy you're losing this year is Josh Thompson, who's out of eligibility. Braylon Moore could go pro, but he could come back. And I think that is the most critical player that you need to come back on your entire offense. Of the guys that could go pro, is Braylon Moore. Like, you've got to get Braylon Moore back at center to be just the literal center and the centerpiece of that offensive line, so you could build everything around him, because he has been your best offensive lineman this year by a mile. But other than that, like, DJ Chester's played a ton of football. Paul Mabenga's played a ton of football. Tyree Adams has been your starting left tackle this year. We talked about Davis, Cohen Eccles, Carius Kern, now Ori Williams, not even to mention Solomon Thomas, a 5-star who hasn't been able to play for you this year. But all that to say, you have, even not including Braylon Moore, Chester, Mabenga, Adams, Davis, Eccles, Kern, Williams. That's 7 guys, and then you throw Solomon Thomas on top of it. 8 guys that you feel really good about their ability, and 7 of those 8 have played, or 6 of the 8 have played a ton of football. That's before we talk about potentially Braylon Moore coming back. So I think you look at next season and you go, okay, did you go through this really challenging stretch this year with a very bad offensive line, and you're going to come through it better because you got these guys experience? Or do you look and say, we gave these guys all this experience, we don't know that the ceiling is very high for them, so we need to go into the portal and get guys who are plug-and-play ready-made? Like, go back to 2022 when Brian Kelly made the decision to start Will Campbell and Emory Jones as true freshmen. They were going to live with freshman mistakes because they knew the ceiling was so high with those guys. And as the season went along, those guys got really good. By the end of 22, they were a really good offensive line. In 23, I mean, they were outstanding in pass protection, certainly, and the way that offense functioned. I mean, they were the number one offense in the country. So I look at it as the central decision that this LSU coaching staff, front office, and the next coach is going to have to make. Are they riding with these guys, these offensive linemen next year, because of all of the growth and development experience they've gotten this year, the investment they made, the growing pains? Or do they look and evaluate and say, you know what, we played these guys and we just missed, and we got to go get dudes out of the portal that are plug-and-play ready-made? But I think you can use these next 3 games to evaluate guys in this group. Carius Curran at left tackle, Ori Williams at right tackle, maybe paramount among them. Look, you're going to move into 2026 with this group and hoping for improvement, or you're going to go into the portal and add proven power for talent on the offensive line. And we'll see what ultimately they decide to do, probably a blend of both. But I would love to see Carius Curran, Ori Williams over these next 3 weeks get a ton of playing time to see if those are cornerstones that you think you could build around in 2026 and beyond. All right, it's after further review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Of course, when we talk about Bud Light, that's a great Mockler product. And our friends over at Mockler, this Sunday, the next 2 weeks, the Weeks brothers will be making appearances on behalf of Form Energy. That's the energy drink. And I misspoke yesterday. Whit Weeks will be at Rouse's this Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m., but it's the Rouse's on Airline and at Long Farm in Baton Rouge. So this Sunday, 2 to 3 p.m., there'll be autographed posters and Form 4-packs available. So get on by, meet Whit Weeks this Sunday at the Rouse's on Airline and Long Farm. I might even try to pop in there as well. It's not far from my house. Hope to see you there. And, of course, always drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. It's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. We'll knock out a break, and when we come back, the New Orleans Saints updated odds for the number 1 overall pick. So where do the Saints stand? What may have to happen for them to land that pick, and what options are available wherever they pick, most likely in the top 5. We'll get to it next on AFR.
After further review.
Y'all, next week, I got the word. Next week, the Christmas trees are going to start arriving over at Clegg's Nursery. We are going straight from pumpkins to Christmas trees. Pumpkins to poinsettias. Fired up for it. The poinsettia open house also is scheduled over at Clegg's Nursery. Still a few weeks away from that, but man, the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs, they're going to have just rows and rows and rows and rows of those poinsettias. It's going to be awesome as we move toward Christmas season. Y'all, Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from today. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from today. The holidays are upon us, and let Clegg's Nursery help you get set up for this holiday season to beautify your outdoor spaces. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. There's 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Siegen Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. My goodness, go look at that picture on their Facebook page of the rows of poinsettias. You will understand the scope of what I'm talking about. It's the only place to beautify your home for Christmas. It's Clegg's Nursery.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Rouse's wants to help you cover the spread this football season. We're talking the ultimate tailgate spread. Party trays, dips, fried chicken, anything you want to throw on the grill, plus plenty of ice-cold drinks to wash it all down. All you have to do is register now at 1045ESPN.com for your chance to win. One winner will be chosen each week, and everyone who registers will be entered to win a drawing for a grand prize of postseason tickets. Rouse's Markets, your tailgating headquarters.
Give me Graf. I don't care what. Just give me Graf. Just give me something.
Westin Davis is.
That's not Graf. That's not Graf at all.
Queen deflection, we're not going to get it. Oh. And then we knock it away again. Murphy to Queen.
Lob it
up to Murphy. Right hand throwdown from Herb Jones.
That's a jackhammer slam from Trey.
We do not deserve Graf and JD. The Pelicans are atrocious. They're a horrendous basketball team. They're going to fire their coach any day. Should have happened a long time ago. Willie Green is awful. They're just a mess of a franchise. But I get so much joy in listening to two people, in Graf and JD, who care so deeply and live and die in every moment of 82 games of an atrocious team. I mean, I'm sitting there listening in the first quarter of the game last night, and they're crapping on Donovan Clingan just for parking it in the lane and for bricking up threes. Play that real quick.
Herb Jones, right block, cut off.
Listen
There's
how
Donovan Clingan just parked in the...
I'll start it over. Listen to how quiet it is. Like, just understand, like, just listen. This is a live National Basketball Association. Just listen to how quiet it is in the background.
Herb Jones, right block, cut off. There's Donovan Clingan just parked in the lane again.
He's not going to guard anybody.
I'm already going to get upset. Murphy long two, that hit the glass. Rebound taken by Sadiq Bey. Back to Fears, wide open left of the top three, around and down.
Yeah, Clingan is not going to guard anybody. He's going to stand in the paint, and he's going to wait around the block shots and rebound. And the Pelicans have to make the officials aware of that.
When we were in Portland last year, John, I'm telling you, he was in the lane one trip, 8 seconds. Look, 8 seconds.
It's aggravating.
Clinging for three. Brick. Take him all night. Donovan.
That's where you want him.
I want someone to come into our awareness, like what we have with all the Murrays, and we play the Murray drop.
Murray, present.
I need a Donovan. I need someone named Donovan, so we can play Donovan. Like, isolate that for me. I want Donovan. I want Graf saying Donovan. All right, whenever you can get it, no worries. I want Graf saying Donovan. There's nothing to talk about with the Pelicans. I won't, I promise. I'm just going to play clips of Graf and JD because that makes me happy. Because there's nothing about this basketball organization that should make anybody happy, but except those two guys. Play it.
Donovan.
He's not talking about an NBA player. Donovan. Like, oh, man, so good.
Donovan.
So good. Take them all night. Donovan. So good. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Saints are in their bye, and opportunity to get some rest, kick up your feet, get healthy, and get ready for a stretch run of 7 games where we'll get a closer look at Tyler Shuck. Really nice outing in his first career win this past week. Again, I want to hesitate to – I want to be clear to not – overstate. I don't want to be hyperbolic about one game. I mean, look, Jackson Dart won his first start. People were going bonkers after they beat the Chargers. Came to New Orleans the next week, lost, and they haven't won since. He just got benched for Jameis Winston. I mean, there was Tebow mania for a minute and a half, in Denver. I'm not saying Tim Tebow is or Shuck is going to be Tebow, or I'm not saying Dart's never going to amount to anything. I'm just not trying to overreact to one game. It's why every guest we've talked about Shuck's performance. It's not been so much just the stats or the win. It's what did you see that you liked. It's the decision making. It's the ability to move within the pocket, to go through progressions, all the different things that say, okay, that looks like an NFL quarterback, and especially on a week where. You had traded Trevor Penning. You had 3 starting offensive linemen out. You traded away Rashid Shaheed. All those reasons, it's impressive. And as a result of the Saints winning that game, their chance to land the number 1 overall pick took a pretty significant hit. As of right now, FPI, ESPN's Football Power Index, give the Saints just a 9.7% chance of landing the number one overall pick. That's the fourth best, or I guess fourth worst odds. The Titans, Browns, and Jets all have worse odds than New Orleans. So, but the Saints are still at a 63.3% chance of landing a top 5 pick, which is probably what's going to happen because the New Orleans Saints do have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. You do have the Jets, you have the Titans, you have 2 games against Atlanta, you have another game against Carolina. You have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL, which is pretty fascinating because we're looking at that Saints win total, either 4.5 or 5.5, depending on where you got it. And, I mean, that looked like a layup to the under a week ago, and now all of a sudden they beat Carolina. Shuck looks pretty good, and you go, man, their FPI will have the Saints favored over the Jets and the Titans in weeks 16 and 17. So you've got an opportunity here maybe to move past that number, and we'll see how high they can go. And I know the feeling from many fans is like, I don't win games. I see it the other way. I think there's a weird contradictive irony about wanting your team to lose. I think the best thing that could happen is Tyler Shuck shows you he is a competent, capable starter that you can build around and you win games. I'd rather that than have Shuck stink, you keep losing, and you end up having to draft a quarterback. I'd rather listen. I'm not delusional here. I know what this team's going to be. They'll probably still settle somewhere around 4, 5, 6 wins, somewhere in that mix. They're not going to go on a run here, but you land somewhere picking in the top 5, right there in that range. I'd rather you not have to pick a quarterback because quarterback needy teams are always willing to reach for quarterbacks in that range. That's why Zach Wilson went number 2 overall and Mitchell Trubisky. That's what happens. Teams reach in that range if they need a quarterback. I would rather the Saints come through this feeling settled about Tyler Shuck so they can use that top pick on another player. And so there's a piece up at ESPN.com, and I mean everybody's going to have this conversation. It's what's the top need for the Saints, and Cat Terrell writes that it's receiver, and that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you just traded Rashid Shaheed. You've got Chris Olave, who they picked up the 5th-year option, so he'll be here under his 5th-year option, the 5th year of his rookie deal next season. We'll see how he may ever emerge, and there's no certainty, though, that after 2026, Olave is still around. Because if he doesn't prove that he can be a capable, viable number 1, then you're not going to pay him like that. Maybe he chooses to hit free agency. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe receiver is a position of need it's certainly a position of need. Maybe that's what they target. But when you look at a team like New Orleans, you need everything. I mean, let's not forget, this is still a very bad roster. We just talked about how depleted you are at receiver. When I look at, say, defensive end, Cam Jordan very well could retire after this season. Carl Granderson, the Saints do have an out in his contract after the season. The productivity hasn't matched the contract. You signed Chase Young to the big contract this offseason, so he'll be back, but it would make a lot of sense if you could complement Chase Young with another young edge rusher. You obviously will need help at safety. You signed Justin Reed. We'll see what Jonas Sanker can be, but Alontae Taylor is a guy that's going to be going into free agency. You're going to have to make a decision about if you want to extend Alontae Taylor after next year. So this would stand to reason this offseason, if you want to invest in Taylor, you would do it after this season. We've talked plenty about linebacker, where Demario Davis is nearing the end of his career. Pete Werner is a guy who may not be back in New Orleans after this season. He was one that we talked about possibly as a trade candidate. So you can look all over the roster and see needs, which is why I would rather the Saints not feel like they have to pick a quarterback, because it just stands to reason you're going to get great value. For example, if you look at PFF and their big board right now, so PFF uses their metric to rank the prospects in this year's draft. They have Reuben Bain from Miami as the number 1 overall prospect. Okay, he's an edge rusher. Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State, number 2. Arvell Reese, the linebacker. linebacker edge rusher from Ohio State, number 3. Peter Woods, the defensive lineman from Clemson, number 4. And then Jordan Tyson, number 5, the wide receiver from Arizona State. TJ Parker from Clemson, number 6. Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, number 7. Ty Simpson, number 8. Then Fernando Mendoza, 9. And then Mekhi Lemon, the receiver from USC, 10. So the point being, the top 4 players, according to PFF in the draft overall, are defensive players. You don't get to a quarterback until number 8. And we know that whoever's picking 1, now maybe it's Tennessee and they drafted Cam Ward last year, so maybe they're not interested in a quarterback, but maybe someone trades up to number 1 to take a quarterback. So I guess all that to say, if you end up picking top 5 and there's 2 or 3 quarterbacks that go in the top 5, if it's Mendoza or Simpson or whoever it may be, and you're looking at best available, it's totally plausible that you could have Ruben Bain as the number 1 player on your board or Caleb Downs as the number 1 player on your board, and they fall to you at 5 because quarterbacks are going ahead of you. So I love the idea of being in the position where you don't have to take a quarterback with a top 5 pick because you're going to end up getting great value and potentially the best player on your board not going number 1 overall. So I know everyone looks at it and says you want your team to lose because you want the higher draft pick, and I understand that because you want the leverage of having the high draft pick. My point is, don't worry about it because the Saints aren't going to win a bunch of games anyway. They're still not a good football team. But what you would like to see is enough certainty with Tyler Shuck through the final 7 games that you're comfortable going into that draft in April knowing you don't have to pick a quarterback top 5, top 10, wherever you're drafting. Because then it's going to put you in a great position of strength when you're drafting, not having to pick a quarterback, but picking the best player available that's going to be a cornerstone piece on either side of the ball that you could build around. If it's Caleb Downs, if it's Arvell Reese, if it's Ruben Bain, if it's Jordan Tyson, you'll have so many more options at your disposal when you're picking. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us here. Love telling you about our friends over at First South Farm Credit, FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. We had a company meeting today over at Court to Table on Burbank, and it's pretty cool that our company has bought a big piece of land right next to Court to Table on Burbank. There's a purchase agreement anyway. You might be moving our operation there, but years down the road, whenever all that, lots of I's dotted and T's crossed. But the point is, it doesn't matter if you're thinking of buying a giant tract of land for agriculture, if you're looking to buy land for at recreational property, maybe you're looking to buy land for commercial purposes, or to buy 100 acres to build your family's dream home and have a bunch of land that you can all live on. First South Farm Credit should be your first call because for more than 100 years, that's what First South Farm Credit has done. Through world wars, natural disasters, economic upticks, downturns, they've been steady and consistent. Experience the difference of buying land from someone who only does one thing, help Louisianians buy land. It's First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. It's First South Farm Credit, FirstSouthLand.com. Okay, let's knock out a quick break, y'all. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Ton to do on this day. We'll go around the SEC, our Fantasy Blitz in 15 minutes before the NFL weekend kicks off tonight and you set your fantasy football roster. Check with our guy Darren Teakin at whotostart.net, whotostart.net. Get your questions in. Email us, tweet us, or text us. Fantasy Blitz in 15 minutes from right now. Okay, and then Quinn Grovey, 45 minutes, former Arkansas quarterback, is the color analyst on the radio network for the Hogs. We'll talk to Quinn about Arkansas in about 45 minutes from right now. Okay, quick break. When we come back, we'll go around the SEC. Don't move.
AFR.
How much is your home worth? Do you know? Like, what does it appraise at? If you're looking to move, first you got to sell your home, right? You're going to buy a new home. Most of the time you have to sell your home before you can buy a new home. Take maybe the money you make on your current home, put it toward the down payment or toward the mortgage on your new property. We got to know how much your home is worth. So how much is your home worth? Got a great way to find out. It's totally free. Go to agent225.com, agent225.com. Do this with me right now. Pull out your phone. If you're curious, pull out your phone. Go to agent225.com. Right there on the homepage, there's a little tab that says Home Value, desktop or mobile. Mobile, just scroll. You'll see it says Home Value. There's a line. Just type in your address. Just boom. Type in your address, hit enter, and in seconds, it'll use local market data to let you know how much your home is worth. And then you can start the process of selling your home with Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
I wanted to give a big shout out to Kristen Nuss, U.S. Olympian, LSU Tiger. We got to meet Kristen at Fletcher Mackel's golf tournament in the spring. She was one of the celebrity golfers and then came on the show, and we kept in touch. And she let me know that she's got a fundraiser coming up Saturday, December the 6th at Coconut Beach Court in Kenner. It's called Santa in the Sand. Very cool thing that that they're doing. So this each December, it's a beach volleyball extravaganza, as they call it, live and silent auctions, music and entertainment, food and beverage, all raising resources to ensure those have an opportunity to share in this holiday spirit. It's in collaboration with the city of Kenner, and 10 families, I love this, 10 families are going to be selected as recipients of Santa in the Sands 2025 gifting. So it's a way to have a fun day and also help some families have a better Christmas. There's going to be a youth clinic that morning. The tournament begins, check-ins at 9. The tournament begins at 10 a.m. There's also a cornhole tournament. And Kristen told me, like, absolutely make no mistake, you do not have to know anything about volleyball or be able to play volleyball at all. There's different sections, so based on ability, right? So it'll be like really competitive and then just people going out there to have a good time. But either way, it's, again, Saturday, December the 6th. If you want to learn more, Paula's got the QR code up there on the screen. Let me see trying to see where I guess you can register through the QR code. Is there a website on there that you can see on that graphic that we can throw out the website? My apologies, y'all. I should have had that. But anyway, it's I know it says it's tknvball.com/Santa25. I know that's a little confusing. Maybe, Muse, would you just share that? Would you get that link from there and share it on the ESPN Twitter with that graphic? I know I'm doing this on the spot. Not super urgent, but Paul, if you could forward it to him and use the graphic and share it, we'll put it out there for it. Maybe put it in the YouTube chat as well. So again, Saturday, December the 6th in Kennebra from 8:30 to 6, live silent auctions, cornhole tournament, sand volleyball or beach volleyball with a couple of Olympians. I would say with Cloth and Nuss, but Taryn got married, so she's no longer Cloth. It's I think her married name is Brashear. Brashear, is that right?
I mean, could be, but we still got to go by Cloth, right? I mean, that's what people know her in that space, right?
I don't know, man. I mean,
plenty of people do that.
I mean, I think artists do that. Like Sierra. She doesn't go by Sierra Wilson. She's Sierra. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean.
There you go. Look. Taryn Brashear. Or Brasher or Brashear? Brasher. Brasher.
All right. Erin Andrews still goes by Erin Andrews.
Yeah,
she's married.
That's true. But I get it. Like but if you have a persona, like a TV persona, you know? Anyway. Cool thing. Awesome event. Help brighten brighten the holidays for 10 families. An awesome thing that they're doing. We're happy to help spread the word. So if you want to register, get out there. We'll share the links everywhere on all the 104.5 ESPN socials. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, lots of ways that they can help you. Maybe you bought a house that people lived there, had pets, and it smells like pets. You want to get rid of that odor? Parish Restoration can help. Maybe you bought a house and someone was a smoker, or you bought a car and someone was a smoker. You want to get rid of that odor? Or you bought a car that had it had water damage to it, and so it has sort of that musty smell. They can come to your office, spray while you're working, let the fog dwell. It'll dissipate. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in free, clear, clean smell, and all that sort of stuff. From your vehicle to your home to giant office buildings, enormous commercial buildings, it's Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Quarterback Blake Shapen probable this weekend against Missouri. He was injured in the third quarter of the game against Georgia, went straight to the locker room. He was cleared to come back, did not play in the second half. Injury was not specified, but Shapen is probable this weekend.
The Missouri Tigers.
Well, Shapen will be going against a Missouri defense that will be without a key defender. Langdon Kitchen, a defensive lineman who's played a lot here in the second half of the season for Mizzou. He's out this week. Nature of the injury not specified. He's a junior there for the Missouri Tigers.
The Florida Gators.
Another defensive lineman, Caleb Banks, who's a literal giant. He's been cleared from injury and is attempting a return. He's a redshirt senior defensive tackle. Remember, we talked to Banks at SEC Media Days. He's had a foot injury that had surgery in September. He returned against LSU. It never really got right, and he's missed the bulk of this season. He is doubtful, was doubtful against Ole Miss on the availability report.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Defensive line coach Travion Robertson posted on social media is back working with the South Carolina football team. He's defensive tackles coach. He was in a car accident in August. He's been away from the team this season as he's been overcoming and recovering from those injuries. Required multiple surgeries, including one near the end of October. But great news there. It seems like Travion Robertson is returning to his duties.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And on the hardwood, Alabama freshman basketball player center Collins Onyenjaka. He's out for an indefinite period of time with what's being described as a medical condition. 6'11", 265. He's out of Boston, late addition to the Tide freshman class when he reclassified and committed to the Tide in June. Played 11 minutes over the first two games. He'll be out for an indefinite amount of time now. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Not just healthcare for your lifestyle, from birth to end-of-life care and everything in between. Maybe you've got a difficult diagnosis, you need in-home care. Maybe it's hospice care. Maybe you're bringing a newborn home and mom and dad need to sleep, and you need expert nursing care to take care of your baby while you sleep. They can help with that as well at Decision Critical. Maybe you're having surgery and you need help in the hospital or when you get home from the hospital post-operatively. Decision Critical can help. Maybe you're a physician. You should be referring your patients to Decision Critical. They can even come to the hospital when you give discharge instructions. They can carry those out at home to keep your patient out of the hospital. If you don't know yet about Decision Critical, you need to. DecisionCriticalBR.com, DecisionCriticalBR.com. But they're not just in Baton Rouge. They're all over Louisiana, about to open up their Dallas office as well. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Okay, let's not get a break, y'all. We'll come back. Darren Teakin's here for our Fantasy Blitz. Before you set your fantasy football roster, check with our guys over at whotostart.net. Get your questions in now. It's AFR.
AFR.
Every day I tell you about Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, but what I want to make sure that you know is that Goodwood is part of a three-pronged health entity. So if you go on Drusilla, conveniently located on Drusilla in Baton Rouge, you got Goodwood, which is the men's clinic. You have Unique Physique, which is the weight loss clinic, GLP-1, semaglutide, tirzepatide. And then you have Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. That's the aesthetic clinic. By the way, $8 unit Botox. That's not an entry price. It's not a deal. That's an everyday price, $8 unit Botox. Guys, if you use it, great. If not, tell your wife, girlfriend, fiance. Trust me, they'll love it. Plus all the lasers, body contouring, laser hair removal, everything. So Goodwood, Unique Physique, and Unique Aesthetics and Wellness, all in one place on Drusilla in Baton Rouge. You want to look and feel your best and your healthiest? They can help. Start online at yourgoodwood.com. That's yourgoodwood.com. Lowest prices, never any contracts, yourgoodwood.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com. After further review, this is the Fantasy Football Blitz.
Do you know who I am?
Powered by whotostart.net.
Who the hell are you?
Whotostart.net. The Fantasy Football Blitz.
Who the bitten?
This is the Fantasy Football Blitz, powered by whotostart.net.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Before you set your fantasy football roster, check with our guys over at whotostart.net. Darren Teatkin is here. Yo, man, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Matt.
Of course. Hey, let's start with tonight. All right, Jets, Patriots, because the New York teams always have to be in primetime, even though they suck. What are we keeping an eye on tonight?
Yeah, this should be one of those uglier Thursday night matchups.
Couldn't be worse than last week, bro. Ooh.
Yeah. So, if you have guys like Drake May, Stephon Diggs, you're starting them on the Patriots side. The Jets, maybe a Breece Hall in a flex spot. But the guys we're looking at tonight are the tight ends for both teams. Both the Jets and the Patriots defense are pretty bad against opposing tight ends. So if you got Hunter Henry, he should be a nice start. And if you're in a pinch or if you're doing daily fantasy or something like that, Mason Taylor might be playable.
Mason Taylor!
There we go. The Colts and Saints are both on bye. I would imagine Jonathan Taylor being on a bye would be the biggest hit for most people. So what sleepers might we be looking at?
Yeah, we've got a replacement running back possibly for you. It looks like Amari DeMarcado, and that's a fun name to say.
Hey.
He's probably the best running back that the Arizona Cardinals have. And now that they got Jacoby Brissett in at quarterback, the offense seems to have kind of settled down a little bit, and they're using DeMarcado not only in the passing game but between the tackles too. Bam Knight, he gets some carries for the Cardinals, but I think Amari DeMarcado is the overall better running backs for the Cardinals. So he might be a good play this weekend for the rest of the season. Then also, this is kind of dependent on injuries, but Darius Slayton, now that Jameis Winston is hurling the rock for the Giants, might be a good play. But if he is not able to suit up, look for Jalen Hyatt to be the deep sleeper.
Okay. By the way, since you brought it, and get your questions in for Darren, email us, tweet us, or text us. Text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. You want to get your fantasy football questions in for Darren. You mentioned Jameis, so what's a realistic expectation here for Jameis this weekend?
You know, he could throw for 3 touchdowns or he could throw for 3 interceptions. That's part of his allure, you know.
No doubt.
He's going to go out there and fling the ball around. Wan'Dale Robinson was already a starter in most fantasy circles. Now he's, going to get peppered with targets. But it's the guys like Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt, the deep guys, that might see a bump up in value with Jameis Winston in tow.
All right. If you've got questions, you can always get them at Darren online at whotostart.net, the numeral 2, whotostart.net, or you can get them in right here Thursdays before you set your fantasy football roster. Check with us. Email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump at the Body Forward YouTube chat or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Hey, Ronnie says he's got a quarterback question. PPR league, Davis Mills or Jordan Love. Who to start?
I think I'm going to stick with Love there. Mills looks pretty good in C.J. Stroud's stead last week, but Jordan Love, he spreads the ball around. He should get you, 2 touchdowns. I think Davis Mills a little bit more risky. I think if you want to play it safer, you go with Jordan Love there.
Let's see. Well, I refreshed this. It's a little slow to refresh, Darren. I'm sorry. Are there any I'll let you fill here while I wait for this to refresh because it's just taking a little second. Sure. You mentioned a few sleepers. Any other questions that you're getting peppered with pretty regularly here so far this week?
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of stuff about, what's going to happen with guys like Garrett Wilson. Is he going to come back after his 4 weeks on the IR? I mean, that puts us in the middle of December. So do you hold on to a guy like Garrett Wilson? If you don't have an IR spot, it's real tough to keep that bench spot, locked up by a guy who's hurt for 4 weeks. So we're hearing a lot of things about injuries, who to replace those guys with, that kind of thing.
Man, I'm sorry, Darren. I would keep refreshing, and it's not. I don't know if it's an issue with my phone with the app right now or something like that. It's just not refreshing right now for questions. So if there's anything else you got that people are hitting you with that you feel people should know, let me know. Otherwise, we'll jump. You got anything else?
Next week we're going to be putting in a new promo code to get people some more discounts on our services. So next week I'll let you know about that.
Man, my apology. I know people love the segment. I always get a ton of questions, and it's just not refreshing. So I'm sure it's backlogged, and I'll get pinged 1,000 times tonight. But in the meantime, if you weren't able to get in today, that's on me. I'll own it. Get your questions into Darren. Go to the website, whotostart.net, the numeral 2, whotostart.net. Get your personalized fantasy football questions before you set your roster. Check with the guys at whotostart.net. Hey, man, I appreciate it. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, man. It is after further review. My apologies, y'all. Golly, I don't know why it's not refreshing. Anyway, I apologize. We always get pinged with 1,000 questions on that segment on my text app, and it's just not refreshing today, so I apologize. That's on me. We'll do better next week. All right, it is after further review. SportsCenter's coming up here in just a quick second, and we're going to talk in 20 minutes to Quinn Grovey, who a former Arkansas quarterback who is a color analyst on the radio broadcast, but also want to talk a little bit about the Saints and a potential free agent they might be looking at here in their bye week. Hey, let me remind you about Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. With locations all over South Louisiana, you're never far from a Shawbill's location. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. You can check them out there at the website, shop tires online, name brand tires at wholesale prices. For example, right now through December the 9th, you can get $80 back when you buy a set of 4 select Michelin tires and free installation, which is a $118 value when you use your Shawbill's credit card. So they'll always work hard to blend the manufacturer's offer with their in-house offer to get you the best price possible over at Shawbill's. Before you travel this holiday season, you need new tires, go to Shawbill's. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbill's, we keep you rolling. All right, SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Busy hour 2 straight ahead. Starting off with a free agent the Saints could target. It's AFR.
AFR.
We are brought to you by Arco Power Systems, arco.com, arco.com, ARCCO, arco.com. This is Generac Industrial Generator Power. So this is not your home standby generator. So this is not for your home. I'm talking to business owners. And it doesn't matter what kind of business that you operate. If I ask you the question, what happens to your business when the power goes out? Well, you need an answer to that question. And Arco is that answer. For 4 decades, too. They're incredible. I mean, our municipalities, government schools, critical infrastructure, our hospitals, power systems, our power grid, they rely on Arco Power Systems. So should your business. And they have turnkey options. Sales, installation, service, rentals, they do it all. You need standby generator power for when the power goes out. You need Arco Power Systems. Arco.com, arco.com, ARCCO.